What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to the Author's Alley. I am your host. My name is Beaty, and we have a very, very great show for you guys tonight. We got two very wonderful authors in the building right now. We're very good authors in the building right now. Before we even get into any of that, I just want to talk about this out there, man. Out there real quickly, guys. So, if you haven't already, follow us on Facebook at Trailblazers Radio. That's where you see that's where all of our episodes are housed. You'll see my Destiny with my two beautiful hosts, Jones and Coco Fenton, as well as this particular show, as well as other episodes as well. And also, just to let you guys know, we do upload the audio of all these shows up on Anchor. So you guys can go to anchor.fm to check out those shows. You can also go to Spotify Podcast Radio, Breaker Radio, and also Google Podcast. So wherever you get podcast from, you can definitely get those audios from the shows. The other thing I want to most definitely thank all of our listeners and all our viewers for tuning in with us, guys. You guys could have been anywhere else, but you guys are right here with us, and we most definitely appreciate that right now. And we love you guys for that. We continually thank you guys for just allowing us to come to this space and have this platform to bring you, great interviews with great people, and also just some, great subjects that we talk about on this platform. So we most definitely thank you guys for that. But now that I've said everything that I need to say, which means at this particular point, which I usually am, I'm going to bring in my first guest of the evening. This young lady does not require an introduction. However, I am going to give her as much of an introduction as I possibly can. I met this young lady during a New Year's Eve presentation that a good friend of mine, named Angela Thomas Smith, had did, and was most definitely enamored by the books that she wrote. So I want to bring her in and talk to her about those books. And so, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm going to bring in none other than I'm going to do something to introduce others. Miss Kadian Palmer-Asemota.
Good night, guys. I'm Kadian Palmer-Asemota.
Hey, how's it going, sweetie?
I'm fine.
How you doing?
Thanks for having me on your show.
Good. Oh man, look, thank you for coming on and just blessing us and our viewing and listening audience with your presence. We're most definitely appreciative of that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's jump into this. So first and foremost, where did your love of writing begin?
Okay, I wasn't planning writing book. I didn't have love of writing and anything in me, because when I was younger, I go through a hard time with schooling and stuff. I didn't finish school. When I eventually fall out of school, I could barely read, probably reading at I can't even say grade 3 level, because my daughter is grade 3 level and she is reading like a college student. So back then I would say probably a beginning level, and I couldn't even spell my word correctly based on the way I speak. We have dialect in Jamaica, broken English. So maybe when I'm spelling a word, if I should add a hi, I had a he, basic little stuff. But when I got married, I was going back to classes before I got married. Taught myself to read, was reading okay, but still mess up my spellings, even though I do kind of have little itch in my spellings. But when I got married, go back to classes, and then when my husband migrated here first before me, I just lost our second child, and I decided to pick some Bible verse because my daughter was pretty young. She was like 4 years old because she came here when she was 4. Pick some Bible verses to read and teach her the Bible verse. So just teaching her the Bible verses and put them in alphabetical order because I have to teach her the alphabet also. And when I put them together and I go over them with her because she's a quick learner, I realized she was repeating every single one of the Bible verse I taught her. And I said, I was there and I was studying and I said, I don't see your advice say you just write your first book. I don't know nothing about books. I don't know your published book. I don't know nothing about books. And so I went to I put together another set because those Bible verses was kind of big. So I said I want to refine them down so I could do it for kids because the first set I wrote for my daughter, because she's pretty good, there was more too mature for younger kids. So I turned that 26 Bible verse into adult book where I went to the internet cafe and said, I want to create a book or whatever. And he said, you have to type up everything because I wrote them down with pen. I didn't have a computer at the time. I went to the internet cafe, said I have to type it up. I borrowed a computer, typed them up. I went there and he said, but you need introduction. What is an introduction? He explained it to me. Then he said, you need the table of contents and all those stuff. I'm like, okay. I reach out to my husband and right there on spot we put together it. But the first book was like a template. So it was only the Bible verse and the alphabet for the adult one. Then when I started to do, and it was a template, I put them together, get the cover created, and then I stapled it in the cover. And it starts selling. So I said, okay, I get a order from where in Kingston where I have to mail off the book. I said, okay, cool. I didn't know what I was doing. The first book cover I did, I said, this looked like more like a funeral setting. Let's do it a brighter cover. And we go ahead. Then I did the kiddies one. And I said, my brother good at drawing. Let me ask him to look at the Bible verse and create some pictures for the Bible verse. And he did the pictures. And then I had the Bible verse, the alphabet, and the pictures. Start selling. But when I just finished the kiddies book, I eventually migrate. So I just finished it. I sell a few copies and I came here. Last year, little before the pandemic, I moved to Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, from New Jersey. And then I have more time on my hand. I said, let me go ahead and try to upgrade my books. A friend of mine, she do all these things. And she said, I can help you, Kadian, with the adult one and find pictures to match it. And then you write a little script to go with the pictures and stuff. You don't know, because I didn't like put pen and paper together. Because I scared I'm going to mess up the grammar. I'm scared I'm going to mess up the spelling. I'm scared I don't even understand what I'm doing. She charged me a bunch of money. Get the first book done. My husband helped me with the script for this. And we did it. And it was out. Then I said, I have to work on the kiddies one. I went on Fiverr because through the friend, I find out about Fiverr. Went on Fiverr because me and the person kind of did. The relationship did kind of end. So I didn't want her to help me work on the second book. So I went on Fiverr, find somebody and said, you know what? I want you to write up this script for me in this way for our children and to explain the Bible verse more to them. She sent me some foolishness. I don't even understand what she did. I cancel it. So I said, okay, I got to do this because my husband, not every man let me say, my husband don't really on that book thing with me, like that support I should get, yeah. So he did like, babes, can you help me write it? Look, I'm tired. Don't bother me with your book right now. Okay, fine. So I went on Fiverr and I have to cancel the order day. So I end up have to do it. So when God wants you in a place, he make everything around you that you think will help to get you there fall and let you sit there and find out how great you are and the power that he invests in you. And I started to write, look on the Bible verse, read it, look on the picture. And I just start typing. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I went on Fiverr and find somebody to edit I never know nothing about edit and proofreading and all of these things, but I do my little research, and that's so I get the book out. Thanks be to God. So I really, and then I just start falling in love with writing there, and start doing. I do a personalized book for my daughter. I collaborate in a book in India with 12 different authors from 12 different countries, where I'm a co-author of that book, and I end up writing 5 books in less than a year.
Mm. Wow, that's a great accomplishment right there. So, from because you mentioned you started doing this in your native in Jamaica. How hard was it to kind of translate from like the language, the kind of the dialect that you speak to like regular English?
Our parents speak patois to us, and I didn't practice to properly speak in the English grammar, but it is our first language. I didn't get the schooling that I supposed to get because I was a brilliant child growing up, as I remember at a younger age. But then my father was very abusive to my mother. My father usually beat my mom, and they part. So I end up moving from mother to father, from father to mother, this school, then next moment that
Mm,
school. Then when I end up finally with my mom, she have 8 of us. So sometime I go to school 2 times per week, sometime none, sometime for the month, 1 time out of the month. I did barely make it to high school. I did third form, but when I went into fourth form, which it would be 7, 8, 9 grade, I only did couple days there or a month, and I eventually have to stop and start working and send my brother to
mm.
school. So that's what messed my learning skill and my education level up.
Well, it seems like you got it on. It seems like you got a nice little lock on it right now. I mean, it's
Yeah,
I find it
I'm working
amazing.
on it.
I find hey, sounds good to me. I just find it amazing to kind of see like that from from where you came from to where you are right now, and especially like your native language is patois, and then to try to get that from to translate that from patois to English and like well to like normal English on paper, and then in like print form. That's amazing. I mean, and then you had already had started selling those books in Jamaica in Jamaica already. So was your following, and did now the following you had in Jamaica, did they follow, did they kind of migrate to the states to where you came from? And I don't mean like the people that
Yeah,
followed. Yeah.
yeah, funny enough, yes, I do get the same support from the same followers. Even the first person that bought the book in Kingston reached out to me recently and said she need a copy of the upgraded book. So yes, I did. I did. And thanks to them for supporting me. They encourage me a lot. Though they say I'm a role model, sometimes they are my role model because they help push me to be better and to share my story to help somebody that's going through the same situation.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, and I'm like, even just the few minutes that we're talking, I'm in awe of what you did, starting from where you are in Jamaica to get your book, to get your book done, and like the painstaking things that you went through to get it completed, and then when you migrated stateside, you still kept with it, and
Yeah.
you still kept with it, and you kept working with it and working it out until now. You not only do you have one book out, you have 2 books out now. What you said with the book that for the kiddies, what was the motivation behind that? Was it that you wanted to be able to educate the kids on Bible verses, or was it just kind of like that calling that you had inside of you?
It's both the calling and both the kids. When I was growing up, we could read, we usually have devotion in school, and now our kids don't have that foundation anymore, devotion and a little Bible verse that keep the devils away. And because many times when we go to school and we have that devotion, and after devotion, many people sing and they feel light before going to class.
Mm,
Now our kids are going to class heavily burdened. so stressed out. They don't have nothing to rely on because they're moving what the foundation that was before, which is the Bible, the way of learning to love and give charity, unto now trying to be the best, trying to have the best car, trying to build that
Mm.
vanity foundation out there where I need this big house and I need it, and in any way I have to get it. And if I don't live in this big house and my friend live in it, I'm lesser than them. I want them to
Mm.
know that, because there's a page in my book, which is V. Let me find it. I think it's V. Yeah, V. It says Ecclesiastic 1 verse 2, vanity is vanity, said the preacher. Vanity is vanity, all is vanity. And I said, vanity, what is vanity? Everything in this world is vanity. So if someone has a lot of money or a big house and you don't, there is no need to worry. They are not better than you because of the stuff they have. So do not equal the vanity with your word. Remember, you are more than what money can buy. Remember to always work hard, and with God by your side, you will receive wonderful things. And
Indeed.
these are the things that I want to create this foundation for the kids to know that it takes hard work to get what you want. And even if you come from a low income background, it doesn't stop you from gain and have what you want and be growing to a fruitful life. And
Mm.
you don't need to die or do for, it's not a do or die thing for these things in the world, because by the end of the day you work hard for it so hard, and by the click of a finger you can lose it. Don't praise these things, don't hold on to them. Love them, yes, it is a blessing, it is an additional to us, but without them we still can live, because many out there are going through worse than what we're going through. Let's appreciate what we have now and work to what we
Mm.
want in the future.
Yes, indeed. And I like that. I love that because we live in a world to where everything is revolves around either money, notoriety, fame, and
Yes.
in some form of fortune.
Competition.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh yeah, competition. Everybody's in competition with each other, and no one wants to give someone
Embrace
else a
each
hand.
other.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
give someone else a hand. As far as like, hey, I see you're in the same situation that I'm in. Let me give you a hand. Let me give you a hand up and kind of teach you about the things that I went through in that situation so that way you can avoid it.
Yeah.
Craziness, man. And I think even with the onset of COVID, it kind of has made things a lot more
Complicated.
very,
I
people are now.
remember I remember when my daughter was in Jamaica and they asked the kids in their school what they want to become. And a young man said, I want to become a scammer, because many persons out there have education and don't have a job or a big house. I was shocked.
Mm,
She was in probably first to second grade. First grade, because
what?
yeah. And that's what the young man say. I never forget. You know, he want to become a scammer because persons
Wow.
that go to school with big education don't have what the scammers have.
Yeah. But you have to think about that. How they get that is by ill-gotten means. That's not. I mean, that doesn't last very long.
Exactly. And that's why we got to teach them that all these things are vanity. It doesn't worth losing your life, your freedom to get them. Take your
Exactly.
time. It may take longer than some, because some person born with the fruits flowing and you have to plant your tree for your fruit to start growing. Take your time and plant your tree.
Exactly. And also nurture that tree because
Nurture it.
the more you love
Yeah.
on it, the more you speak to it, the more you water it, the more you take care of it, that it's gonna grow and it's gonna grow big, it's gonna grow power, it's gonna grow powerful, it's gonna grow strong, and it's gonna be able to support
Yes.
whatever
Yes.
you put in front of it.
Yeah.
I love that. I like that. So basically, it's like what you're writing is more, it's educational, but it's also inspirational and uplifting,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that we need a whole lot more of that in this world. Serious, honestly speaking, we really
Most
really do.
definitely.
It's it's a rare. I won't say a rare thing because I think that there are more people like you that are that are present in this world than there are people, bad people or worse people or whatnot. You know, you
Yeah.
you write a book like this to give a child a chance to read this and not only be inspired but also to be encouraged and be uplifted, because
Yeah.
certain things that we as human beings, like we as adults or human beings expect to be around are not. I remember as a kid where where we did have prayer in schools and things of that nature, and it was something that helped us, as kids, get through the day,
Yes, it
especially
does.
especially when you had when you had like the roughest of rough days. I mean, I also remember, sometimes, going over a relative's house, a grandmother, or my uncle's house, and they would always just, they would always pray. They would always pray for me and say that, hey, look, this it's gonna be better. So just hang in there.
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
It's not. It's not there. I guess I don't know. I guess maybe that's
Is
something that's.
it nowadays? Is either if you can't do it, you kill somebody, you kill yourself, or you just lose it.
Yeah.
There's nothing there
Yeah.
to hang on to say, you know what, today is a bad day, but tomorrow will surely be better. When you pray,
Of course.
sometimes you pray and you start breaking down into tears, and all that hunger that build up in you just fade away. But now you have nothing to go to. It's like even the songs, the songs that the big stars them sing have so much that motivate these kids to kill themselves. They talk about gun, because the other day I was looking and I said, oh, Jamaican stars need to start doing better.
Mm.
Because I realize even the pandemic, instead of they use the internet to uplift each other, they all on it cursing each other. And what are you telling the young kids out there? Fight each other and step in each other corn to get where you're going.
Mm.
It doesn't make sense. What are the example we are setting for the future? Because the future is our kids. And the
Yes,
same thing,
indeed.
we're saying crime and violence is getting out of hand. And I'm speaking to mothers and fathers. What are the example you plant in your household for your child to follow? The example, especially the men, the example of going out there to have 3 and 4 baby fat mothers, and then this child don't you abandon this child, can't even find the money to feed this one, so the mother's struggling with him, and then they have to start dating and a tender age to find love. You are the first man in your child's life. You're the first man to teach them how a man should treat a woman. You are their example. Mothers, what are you teaching your child out there? If you have some difficulty in your relationship, to go out and cheat, to have multiple boyfriends,
Mm.
to having a baby without knowing their father. We are the problem. The elders are the problem.
Yeah.
We are breaking this society down by the lifestyle we live.
Right. Or even better yet, the lifestyle that we embrace.
Yes.
I mean, the funny thing that you mentioned that, because that point has never been more clear, especially now in the day and age that we live in, where gun violence is rampant, um, domestic violence, especially in during COVID, is like at an all time high, and then now because of COVID, now everybody's inside, and now the kids are just kind of they look at what they see on TV, like on either on TV or video, and that's what they aspire.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
My
what
daughter
there's.
said, my
That,
daughter said to me a few days ago, you say I watch too much Disney, but Disney teach me a lot, you know.
yeah.
Yes, these are the things we gotta mold, the things that we put out there on any platform. Our kids are watching and learning.
Mm-hmm.
The words we speak to our kids as mother and father, that's the same words they're going out in society to use. The lifestyle we teach our kids, God bless the few that escape the bad lifestyle and try to do a different path from their parents. But that's the same lifestyle they're going out there for and and,
Yeah.
and, and do.
Yeah. Indeed. Indeed. And like I said, I think that books like you have right now, they're extremely important. Not only is it motivational and uplifting to an individual, whether it's male or female, and it's also uplifting and motivating to a child because
Yeah.
now they get to see something that's outside of the video, the YouTubes and the videos and things of that nature. Not to say that any of that you know is good for entertainment purposes, but not so good as far as having any type of educational value.
Yeah.
And I mean, me myself as a child, as a kid born in the 70s, raised in the 80s. This is when MTV and VH1 came out. So I was literally an MTV and VH1 and BET baby. So we grew up around a lot of that stuff, but at that time a lot of the messages were a lot more positive instead
Yes.
of so negative now, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I see this difference between how we grew up and how our children grow up, and it's a
Yes.
it's a stark difference.
The society doesn't the government and everything doesn't even make it easy because you cannot school your kids anymore, and these kids allow in this time to speak even to the teachers so disrespectfully and they can do nothing about it.
Woo,
They speak to
no,
their mothers so disrespectfully and feel like they have all angle. No, you don't. It's we need to these kids don't even know how to work out hunger problem. They're full with so much hunger on the inside, so much rage that as you pin, not even a joke, you can't run with them anymore because they take it that serious and they're gonna deal with it.
well, but I think that's also attributed to what a lot of things that some kids have been exposed to as well. Some kids maybe have been exposed to watching their parents go through these situations, these domestic
Yes,
situations, and
domestic
then
violence.
and then also maybe
Mhm.
also these kids have maybe also been exposed to seeing people around them, you know,
The
pass away.
words, the words we speak, the curse word is a norm to everyone.
Yeah,
Like a child even talk to their parents with curse words. It is not acceptable. It's time for us to go back to respectable words that coming out of our mouth to our children and the words that coming out of our children's mouth that we accept. The other day,
man.
somebody, more than one person, keep on saying, share this content on YouTube for me. As I click on the content, is the bad word. I cannot share that on my platform because I don't accept it. It may
Right.
sound cool to you, but it's not cool. And that doesn't mean I am better than you because I usually curse it too. But I come to yes, I usually curse it too. But when I listen to myself then and listen to myself now, it was disgusting. It is disgusting.
Mm,
And when the father and the mother portray this lifestyle where the father don't respect the mother don't respect the father, you don't treat the wife with love and charity, what do you expect the kids is going out there to do?
the same
It's
thing.
the same.
Same thing. It's just a
Yeah.
circle. Just a
And it's
circle.
gonna continue. You go out there. Hey girl, me want your number now, and the girl refused. They say, hey girl, you think say man, if you glad say man I called you. Where are the this is the male. The male, our kids need both mother and father, and we need to be careful or we adjust our kids, the words we speak towards our kids, because these are seed we're planting in them.
Always.
We as parents need to be careful or we treat each other as husband and wife, as baby father and baby mother, so our kids can come and adapt the same lifestyle. Is full-time man respect woman
Yep.
and women respect their man and stop sleeping around with more than one partner. It is not cool. I don't care you want to tell me about, oh, in the Bible, this so and so did have so and so wife. It is not cool. People have feelings and these lead to violence. And your child see you acting out, they're going to think it is okay to act out that way.
Indeed, indeed. Man, that's cool. I mean, I like how you put that because that's so very important to make that known because again, it's something that's hasn't been really just looked
Sweep
upon.
underneath the carpet and think the lifestyle now it is okay. The
Indeed,
words we
indeed.
speak it is okay. The way we adjust our parents or the ladies that in our life is okay, or our male. Because you do got good males out there and the women mouth are very dirty. Period. No ladylike whatsoever. No little lady in them. And you cannot treat a man in it. The man is the head of the household. That doesn't mean the man is gonna control you. But respect goes where respect comes from. And we both have to respect each other and meet each other pathway. And
That's right.
started to set that fruit for our kids to eat from it.
That's right. That's right. Now, your second book was that the motivation for you to write the bigger book for the adults? Was that your motivation to
Ah,
do that?
the motivation was to encourage is the same alphabetical order inspirational Bible verse as it would say Matthew 7 verse 7. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. Ask ask for what you desire. Seek for what you need. Knock for new opportunities. As adult, we do fall in situation where financial problem, um roughness in your marriage and think because when I get married, me and my husband went through a big financial problem where my daughter actually starts school in used uniform. And it's one of the greatest thing when your kid is going out to school for the first time to buy and prepare. We could not prepare. But I did
Mhm.
not get out my marriage to go seek otherwise. I did not. I try to say, Lord, let me not show me where I can go. What job can I do to help my husband out to put food on the table? Just help me through this time. And these are the words that keep me going, the words of the Lord that calm me. Sometimes the battle was so rough, and sometimes I went out in the rain when I have to be cooking on the wood fire in the rain, and I said, Jesus, without a voice coming out for you to hear. But I'm literally screaming from the inside, meaning I'm knocking on heavenly door for God to open a way for us to feed and to bounce back on our feet. We I remember one of the time when I was there and I see persons, we have scallion. They strip scallion by the pound and pay you. You can make up to $500 for your whole day. You did that strip scallion for them bring to the market. And I said, you know what? Let me go also some scallion money. And I went down. I stripped the scallion and somebody looked at me and said, I wouldn't be stripping scallion if my husband was a teacher. You don't even know that I can't even find food on the table because the bills was so raging and all his paycheck was going to the bills because we just buy and build our first little home, start off our home, and it was very hectic for both of us. I didn't have a job, so I have to hustle to help him out. My husband walked miles to work, have to beg, drive, boom ride every day, never miss a day from work, and I respect him for that. Many times you have to beg his co-worker or borrow money just to find food put on the table. And just money, get the money now, take a taxi fare out to eat my walk or in boom drive just to make sure we have food. And I have to flip to the words and grow my faith during that time. So this what in that situation, many person went out and cheat because of lack and want. Many person tear their relationship across because the tension was so high. But I fall. I remember one night, my husband came home 10 o'clock because he have to walk from work. He was doing class at the same time while going to school without food. And he came home and I see the stress and the depression. The shoes bottom was so eaten out. You have to take another heel from another shoes to top up the shoes bottom. No clothes to go to work. And I went on my knees and I take the consecrated oil and I repeat these words daily. And I consecrate it and I start praying for him. That's the tower of strength. And trust me, I was feeling the pressure because I was at home, wasn't working. I have to deal with my daughter. Mommy, I'm hungry. Oh, no pampers to put on the bed. One night, because in Jamaica, we have a lot of hands. My daughter started to potty train, but sometime he messed the bed up and we have to pull up the mattress for Sonny. And one night I get up, it was a lot because the people in the mattress, there was a lot of hands we were sleeping in. I couldn't even see the mattress. The amount of hands was on my bed. I wake them up quickly and I dust it off, spread a new sheet, and we go back to bed, sweep out the ants, and I say, Lord, you have to make a way. And these are the words that keep me going. The songs, I have to fall for some Christian song that melt my heart and I cry. I feel so good to get my head going. I never have high blood pressure during that time because it was God. I wasn't sad. I laugh, I smile. Even when my husband school was going on trip and he said, I'm not going because we haven't gone for a long while. I said, go. Enjoy yourself. Just bring me back some my free food. Please, can I beg you? Yes, bring me some my free food. Go and enjoy yourself. Me and Dora good. And these are the things that help me to help support my husband through that time.
Wow. And then when you guys migrated from Jamaica to the stateside, did you find that transition easier or was it just as difficult?
Wow. That's a touchy topic. It was easier. When my husband get here, get him here, it was touchy topic based on certain things I can't touch on certain subject because certain reason at the moment. So it's gonna leave for another time, yeah. But it was God miracle because when I came here, I came to sleep on the ground and I said, "Let's bring 2 bags on the ground for bread because we didn't have no bed because he just rent the room." And when I came, I met this young lady and her husband. I met the husband and then she started talking to me over the internet. And I reached out to them because I need an extra person to help me pray. Because I couldn't even, I was gobstined for here one at the time. I could have barely pray because I was so burdened down and reached out to them. And when I came, she started me off with so much stuff that the night I end up with 2 beds. I blow up bed and a bed because there was a Jamaican that controlled he was the super at the building that we rent. And he said, somebody just move out and leave a bed, you can get it. We have there was so much that young lady sharp. I literally sharp. And this is the first time I was meeting her and seeing her when I get here. And she did prepare for us. So the same thing as I said, the Bible, the words I speak, God already made the way without I knowing it.
That's good, man. That's good to know that your transition from Jamaica to here, even though there were bumps in the road, and there probably still are bumps in the road, but it's your burden is made so much lighter because of your faith in God and because of how much
it was lighter.
Yeah, and I see that. And I just see the like the lightness in your countenance right now. It's just you're a lighter. You're so much of a lighter person now because of your faith and your belief, and also knowing that when you ask for it, it's gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen.
I'm gonna give a testimony here. I don't. Many people. I always say, Lord, there's so much miracles in the Bible that spoken in the Bible, and we have to believe the Bible. But I don't want to speak about that miracle. I want to speak about my miracle. And when we just get to the area that we build our house, I'm not from that area. I moved there suddenly because I didn't know my husband much, because I met him the August and we get married the same year, November. The last of November the same year. So we didn't know much. We met on the internet. When we got married, the person that supposed to be my family and loved one that took part in my wedding, they eventually cursed me out the other day and laughed at me, and crowd was gathered at my gate. And each time I walk in the community, there was particular few person that was laughing at me, and I was feel so hurt. I couldn't stay in my community. I couldn't even breathe because of the map they take me through and the stuff they say I couldn't have a child. A lot of stuff they use my sickness that I went through against me. Oh, and they say tell my husband that I'm not a good person. It was a lot to take on a newlywed. And I was very young because I married at the age of 23. I was very young, know nothing about marriage. Coming from a broken home. Didn't trust men much because I'm a child that been abused, been sexually abused by a close family member, by a person that was supposed to got my back, and I was broken. But when God took me in, it was a different, because I love Christ from a tender age that I don't even know how comes, because none of my family, my mother is not a Christian, my dad is not a Christian. Who was in my family a Christian? Nobody. But I joined to Christ at a tender age because that's the only thing that soothed and eased the pain on the inside, because I was really hurting. I never know I would be married. Even when I get married and I have my daughter, I was so scared. And my husband assured me. And when we moved there and we went to the shop, the young lady picked up that we were struggling. We didn't have much money to buy the food. And she said, you can trust, and then you come pay me after, like credit the food. I'm like, okay. And we still didn't take it because my husband did have a lot of pride. Like if you give him stuff, he not take it like that. He's an African, he's Nigerian, so
Right.
they are like for real. And she said, come man, no. And when one day we didn't have no food in the house, and I went by and I credit some food. More than about 4 hours, I have to walk up with the bag, credit the food and stuff. And when my husband do make up some money, we pay every other week and credit more, pay every other week and credit. And there was this particular day, I find this church, went to the church when my husband cleaned the church together and stuff. And we were doing evangelism, and I find this man, it's a big elderly man. He was sick and didn't have anybody to cook. I didn't have much. I said, okay, I'll cook some food care for you tomorrow. I didn't know where I was going to get the food to cook from. And I cook the food the morning, boil some porridge, I bake 2 banana nib, and I cook and I bring the food over. The next day I was going down, I owe the lady $4,000. And I said, God, but no food in that house, now I need to go trust. But me can't trust them a food when me owe $4,000. Me need the money to pay the bill. I was walking on the first hill. I never forget. The person walk up and down. I see something on the ground look like money. And when I bend at 2,000, it was crispy coming like it come just drop out of bank. I walk one more step, I see $1,000. Me call my husband, I said, no man, I want this. And he said, probably a false money, because then false money was going around,
Right.
And me look and consecrate money real. Me say, God, if you give me this $3,000, more $1,000 more than $4,000, me owe the person. And the next man I was going down with the Paris, I found the $1,000 right there and then.
Ooh. Look.
I experienced so much miracle. And I want to make person know that God is real. And we have the power to create that environment to channel stuff towards us based on the things we speak, the things we believe, and the energy we hold on to.
That is so very true. It man, words have power, and they have the power to uplift. They have the power to confuse. They also have the power to destroy.
Yes.
And if we as human beings understood that our words have so much power, I think a lot of us would be much more cognizant about the things that we speak to each other.
And you know why I experienced this when I was young. How powerful word is. And probably God was giving me all these testimony. My mother have 8 of us. My father have 3. I'm the only girl from my father. My father have 2 kids with my mother, but he have a elderly son. And when me and my brother live with my brother lie on me one day. It was a Sunday. Lie on me and my mother beat me because my mother no ram for beat. And I say, I wish you just dead and come out of my life. I was young. Never know what I was speaking. And my cousin took my brother and sent him to the shop. And I heard boom. Few minutes
Ooh,
down the road, the bus that we took to school hit my brother. Head lick. Drag him from one point to the other. Mash him
what?
up. The state was take him to the hospital. And
What?
the hospital couldn't contain. They have to take him in the helicopter to take him to the big hospital in Kingston to slit the throat to leak out the blood. I almost lost my brother by the word I speak.
Mm.
We gotta be careful what we speak in the atmosphere.
Mm.
And then me and my brother is like this. If something is going to literally happen to my brother tomorrow morning, I felt it, I dreamed it, and I literally know it.
Mm.
It's like a twin connection, and we're not twins. I feel everything that go through that young man bodies. And that's why some people might think why I go so hard, because he have a mental illness from it now, because he have a nerves breakdown where sometimes he just go off. I don't know what caused it. Some situation, and each time something is going to happen, I literally know before it happened.
Mm.
God used me to keep him alive today. That's how powerful the spirit is.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, and you, I mean, you are just a you. I mean, just from the books that you've written, and also through this amazing testimony that you have from to get to where you were to get to where you are, and then still and you're still pushing, you're still moving forward. That's a powerful testimony. I think that a lot of people can latch on to, and they can learn something from that. They can take heed and take guidance from that. You know, the books that you have are more than just inspirational. These are life lessons that are being brought to life through the pages of your book, and also through the words that you write. It's I gotta say, man, it's very those are it's powerful. And to me myself, I feel extremely honored to even be even to be in such a powerful presence such as yourself, because I mean you've if anything that I've learned from just the conversation that we've had now is just that the word, it works. It literally works.
Yes. With believe, they always say believe killing, believe cure. Once we believe and have that faith, that's the faith alone allow God to give you liberty. The faith alone allow God to send favor your way. And he is real. He's a friend. When men failed us, he never failed us. He never failed us. He always there. And each test we go through, it create our testimony.
Hmm.
Each problem that come our way, there's something to be learned. And
Mm.
we have to sit back and say, what am I supposed to learn from this? Because sometimes we are too proud. Sometimes we reach the point where we feel like we are there now and we don't care about nothing or nobody else around us. We need to
Indeed.
stop being proud and be humble. We need to
Indeed.
stop feeling that we're better than that person because I have more education than them or I have more money.
Indeed.
We need to stop praising the vanity in this world. It is good to have good house, good car, and comfort zone. But we're not so we're supposed to can say, I can share my space with a brother that is out in the snow. Let me take the last out. I have a auntie that sometimes she's not a Christian, and I wish she would have just go in a church because that woman is awesome. She will take
Mm.
the last $500 out of her account that she worked so hard. She's a CNA. She was at home health aide. She's a CNA, and give it to us dead stranger to help them. She don't play with giving.
That's
But some
powerful.
of
That's
us have
powerful.
so much and refuse to give a little.
Mm. That is very, very true. That is very, very true. And at the end of the day, really, it's about helping your fellow man. You know, get get to a point, get to that point. Again, like I mentioned earlier, you see somebody that's down. Hey, reach your hand out there and help lift that person up and help them get to where they're going. It does. It doesn't require much to do that, and sometimes it doesn't even require a monetary investment. It just requires a personal investment in that person and
Yes,
that person, and to want to see that person do good or be better than where they are.
yes. I tell person I can work my whole paycheck and give it away. I rather buy a $10 shoes. If a name brand gonna cost me $30 and a $10 shoes is look just as comfortable as name brand, I rather buy the $10 shoes and give the $20 away. Because that name brand have nothing like for real. I don't care about name. I don't even buy clothes. I rather to know that somebody have a roof or food, something to eat. It gives me joy. Because I remember when I have nothing and it was strangers that blessed me from their sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Some of
There's
us
that.
have, and I believe this is sin when you have so much clothes in that closet not wearing tag panning. Why buy so much when somebody out there have nothing? It is sin.
Yeah, indeed,
It's
I
for
believe it.
real. You look. It is okay to shop and spoil yourself.
Right.
But for me, if you check my, God bless the amount of clothes I have. When they get old, we buy back another set where we carry out the year or two more year, and I rather give for real.
Mm.
Because I don't see why I'm having so much clothes in the closet that I'm not wearing. What use is that to me when somebody's out there is dying on the street? When a child out there need a food to eat, when a child out there needs some education, and if I don't help them, they start leading into gun violence and them say man I can kill me when I could help them from end up to that situation.
Indeed, indeed. That's good. That's really, really good. That is, man. Look, like I said, your story as well as the books that you write. I mean, for me, they're inspirational, and more of that is honestly needed, especially in the times that we live in. The unusual times that we live in, and you know what? I just thank God for you because you know you're that light that's gonna continually light the way for people, especially for those who need that guiding light. So I thank God for you. I really do.
Give God thanks for everything. Without
Indeed, and
Him and His Spirit, I'm nothing, and I probably would be so selfish. But
indeed,
the spirit
indeed,
that is keeping me in life. I'm not doing this by my power because I do have bad mind and selfishness, but the spirit that push it away. Because even everyone, it's a spirit. All these things are spirit, and they come upon each and every one of us. But do you have the strength or the Holy Spirit to guide you to push it away and don't come to the come to the hack and start doing it? All of us reach the point where wonder if me fit finger licking with my finger over this. We do get the temptation. Everybody get temptation of bad mind, jealousy, and tearing down others. But do you come succumb to it? You have to have the hardest strong part of you, which is the Holy Spirit, to help you not to fall for it.
Indeed, indeed. So I'm gonna give you this time right really quickly to let everybody know, first of all, who you are, where they can find your books, and also where they can find you on social media. So you have the floor.
Okay, guys, I'm Kadian Palmer-Asemota. I'm living in Pittsburgh and I'm Jamaican. I have a kids book, 26 Alphabetical Order Inspirational Bible Verse for Kids, and also an adult book, 26 Alphabetical Order Inspirational Bible Verse for Adults. You can get them on Amazon. You can reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Messenger if you want to order directly from me with a signed copy. Yes.
Yes, indeed. Ma'am, look, you first of all, you have blessed our audience entirely, because I can look at the comments and everyone is saying that your testimony is powerful. They can identify with you, one person said, that one person, Terrence Jackson said, making sure that someone has shelter and food versus, name brand clothes. He just everybody's giving a big kudos to you, because that's, again, what you're doing and what you're putting out here to the people and to the world is still needed, regardless of what anybody thinks. It's still needed, and I feel very honored to have you here on the show and to talk to you about this, and just to feel the lightness of your testimony and the joy that you have in your heart, but for just doing the work. So I thank you very much for coming on and just sharing that, and because I know there's some people that really needed to hear that.
Thanks be to God for His word and His spirit that guide me day by day. Without Him, I will fall. Without Him, I will still be like anybody else. But because the spirit that lays in me, that keep me and teach me, I'm not perfect. I do make mistakes.
Right.
I still learn and I still grow, and I have a lot more room to grow. And I just want to allow the Holy Spirit to continue to lead my life, and so I can inspire others. Anybody can be like me and even greater than me once you place God first and give your life to Him. Let the Holy Spirit take you over, and you will see. Oh, because when I was growing up, I always said, God, you don't give me a gift. But now I see so much gift that is springing up. I wondered, like, where were these give all these years? But there's a place and time for everything, and with God in the mix of everything, your cup is great and will overflow.
Indeed, indeed. I'm just for me, I'm just so, you know, inspired by this, and I'm also, moved by your story, because again, it's one of those things of where coming from one place, doing what you're doing, being so having some degree of success at it, and then uprooting yourself and then coming to another place, making adjustments, making the necessary but also the hard adjustments to kind of make everything work the way it's supposed to work, and then still being able to persevere and continue to push forward. That's a testimony in and of itself, but it also speaks volumes to, your incredible perseverance and also your character too. So yeah, thank you. I am honored to have you on the show, and I am appreciative of that. Um, I'm gonna extend that. You are welcome to come here anytime. Just let me know when you want to come aboard, and we'll make it happen, and we can talk about a new book that you have, or we can have a discussion like we had right now.
Okay. Thanks for having me, and I will be back.
Oh, most definitely. I'm expecting you to come back. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on to the show, Miss Katie, and I wish you the so much of the best of everything and everything that you endeavor to do. God bless you. God keep you. God protect you and your family, and God keep you guys safe. You have a wonderful evening, and you guys stay safe out there in Pennsylvania.
Thank you. You're the same. God bless.
Yes, ma'am. God bless. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Miss Kadian Palmer-Asemota. She's a powerful author, man, and she is the author of two great books, man. You got those books on Amazon. And if you want to sign a personal copy, you can get in contact with her personally, so you can get that signed personal copy, and she's gonna be able to get that to you guys. And she is a powerful author, very powerful testimony. So, with that being said, I say my second guest of the evening. This gentleman right here, I've known this gentleman for quite some time. We know each other since we both signed to the same publication company. We grew this friendship and this brotherhood just out of kind of one particular commonality that we're both sort of but that commonality turns to other things. You know, this guy's got the power to do it. And man, all I can say is that when I bring him on, man, you guys are gonna be wild and awesome and awestruck with this guy, man. So I'm not gonna waste any more time right now. So I'm gonna bring my brother, the TV Scott, on so we can have a nice conversation. Troy, what's happening?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Man, good, man. Look, man, I'm finally glad to get you on my platform, man, so we can chop it up and talk about all kinds of stuff, man. How you do?
Man, I'm hanging in there. It's been a long day, but I'm hanging in there.
Man, look, same here, bro. Same here, man. So I hope you don't mind, man. I really just want to get right into this, man, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so first, I mean, like I was saying to everybody else, man, we met just from being signed to the same publishing company.
The same
and the one
crooks.
thing that we both Yeah. You know, but we're not gonna talk bad about those people because hey, I've learned to live and let live. So it is what it is at this point. But
yeah,
the one thing that we share was one commonality that we both served. We both served in the military. We both served in the Navy primarily. So we kind of grew together from that commonality. But from that, I think a good friendship evolved from that, because I noticed that a lot of the things that you wrote about were based upon the things that we go through on a daily basis. Now, is that intentional?
well, before I answer, I had to say this first. Like, I'm 48 years old. I'm looking at myself in the camera, and I feel like those 40-year-old dudes that take selfies. You know, they take the selfies and their face be all up on the screen. That's what I'm feeling like right now. I'm like one of those dudes. Oh man.
Yeah, it's a little bit getting used to.
Man, about to pop in somebody's DMs.
yeah. But yeah.
No, but no, I mean, I want to say it's intentional. It's just that, like, even when I was doing music and even with doing the books, I always wanted to talk about like this general stuff that happens every day. I mean, anybody can make up stories. That's what we do as authors. We make up stories, and that's cool and all. But at the same time, I always try to write something where you can relate to the situation that's going on around us, because art imitates life. So I always want you, when I write something, get something out of it. I always try to have some kind of a message in the books that you're going to get something out of it. Don't just read it just for the entertainment value, but also try to get something out of it too.
Right. Good deal. I mean, now, when did all this writing stuff start for you? Was it because you did mention as you dabbled in music? Was music your first love?
Actually, my first love was theater. I got started in theater back in '83, so I'm actually trained in theater. But now I started doing. It's funny how I started doing music. It's probably like back around '89, '90. It's like when hip hop was really at its core and stuff. And like
Mm.
some of the guys that I was doing theater with, like they were good dancers. So when we would go to parties, they would get all the girls because they could dance. I'm like, I gotta learn how to do something because I can't dance. I can't dance for shit. So I gotta learn how to do something. I can't pick up no chick reciting lines from a play. So I gotta learn how to do something. So
Yeah.
and then I just started. Well, maybe we really want to do rapping because my next door neighbor, his cousin used to DJ for Belle Biv DeVoe back in the day. So I like
Oh.
try to get him to like give me advice, like, yo, like, I wasn't trying to ask him for a deal. I like, write my stuff. And I was like, yo, let's listen to what I got and tell me if I'm going in the right direction, if I'm not going in the right direction. And he would kind of always kind of like blow me off. So that kind of like pissed me off, like, him not taking me serious. So then I really went in hard with the music. And it's like, if he ain't gonna take me serious, I'm gonna make him take me serious. So, and that's how I started writing with the music. And I would
Mm.
write the same. Then I got with this management company, and I could do all kinds of music. I could do like the party music, the X-rated music, the conscious music. But like every management company I had, they always wanted to book me as like the positive rapper, the one with the metal all the time. It was cool, but I wanted to do other stuff too. But I always got stuck doing like the quote unquote positive stuff, so it just kind of stayed.
Mm. So that kind of stuck with you for a while.
Yeah.
But you said, but the one thing that you mentioned to you're theater trained.
Mm-hmm.
That that is that's a man that's amazing to me because and I want this is not no none of that an off thought or anything like that because most people that you don't think are theater trained are actually theater trained. So
Mm-hmm.
when you mentioned that to me, that caught me as a surprise. I'm like, theater trained? What? So
Yeah,
he can go to a
that
theater and
throws a
quote
lot of people
Macbeth,
off.
can he?
That throws a lot of people off.
Right. And have you now? I'm pretty sure you've done production stuff like that and before, but you know,
Yeah.
what has theater was theater your what had theater always been that thing you wanted to do even as you kind of from growing up to now? Was it something that you still want to do, or is it kind of just something that you kind of just slowly but surely kind of weaned yourself off of?
Honestly, my thing has always been the same since I've been a kid. I just wanted to be in the business some kind of way. It really didn't even matter. I mean, it's like you hear people say, I can't do nothing else. This is what I'm really good at. This is what I love doing. This is what I'm really good at. I always joke with people. I always say, you know what, if this acting don't work, this music don't work, or these books don't work, ain't but one branch of entertainment left to go in, and I will go and do porn. Don't you play with me.
So you really want to go back into anybody's theater troupe or nothing like that, huh?
If it happens, I'll do it. If it happens, I'll do. I will never say no. That's my first love. So I will always, if someone's got a good role available, I'll do it.
Cool, cool. I mean, now what if theater turns into something maybe like a role or maybe like a role in I won't say a major motion picture, but maybe like a recurring role in a series.
Hey, whatever works. Like I said, I just want to be in the business some kind of way. However, I got to get in there is however I get in there, whether it's through music, through acting, or even through these books, having turning these books into something. Who knows? But however I get in this business, that's how I get in it. But
That's what's up.
even if that never happens, and I just stay with the books, that's cool too. I'm still in the business.
Exactly, exactly. And the one I think the one thing that we both kind of learned that I know I learned early on in my writing career is that this business can be extremely cutthroat.
Yes, it is.
Can be extremely it can be extremely hard. Can be extremely harsh on someone who isn't hip to what's going on. Isn't up on how things are.
Hmm.
And we both of us as authors know we both know how to at this point we both know how the game goes. It's it's people. It's always the ones up top that get the shine, and then it's Then you got middle people that tend to get some shine, and then you got other people that get shine, but not as much as they should, because they're not necessarily recognized for what they do. The one now, I'm gonna say this openly, because I've always said it. I've always said it in my mind. I've always wrote it down on a piece of paper. But now I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it openly. Is that the things that what you write should be up there with the likes of Sister Soldier, Quan Mills, and all these other cats. It should be up there with the likes of those people, because for me, and I'm gonna say this, and again, I'm saying this openly. Reading Blue Lives Murder was like that was that it for me. I ain't gonna lie. It was. Now I'm gonna tell you right now that you had me on an emotional roller coaster. So I told myself, yeah, I'm gonna have to get at him about that.
Hold on. Yeah. I'm on a cam call. A cam call. Yeah. Yeah. My fault.
Nah, you good. But I told him that I'm gonna have to get at him about that, because you can't be having me going on a roller coaster like that, bro. Just saying. But I mean, that material is like, to me, it belongs up there with those types of writers. But again, because, and you said it on a couple of your posts before, and we've talked about this a couple of times, that we're not gonna get no. I mean, we will get shine like that, but it's kind of like that, that bottom rung type shine, and then and I know.
No, I was just gonna say it's crazy, because I mean, first of all, I'm humbled by what you said, and I really appreciate you saying that. I really do appreciate it. I've thought about that myself at times. I'm like, you know what? I got a friend of mine. His name is Doe Fresh to Dawn, and he has a song out called "The Wrong Era." And it's basically like him saying the song. He thinks he came out in the wrong era. He should have came back when hip hop was at its purest. Yeah. And I say the same thing with the book. It's like, if I probably would have came out before social media, writing the same stuff I'm doing now, I'd probably be up there with the Quans and the Nene Capris and all of them. But the game is different now. Social media has changed a lot. The game is a whole lot harder, because everybody and their mama wants to write a book, and everybody should not to shit on nobody, but sometimes you got to be honest. Everybody shouldn't be writing a book. But with social media, it just made it possible for everybody to say, you know what, I think I'm going to try and do that. And that's cool if that's your dream, but you got to work harder, because it's not going to come overnight. People think because you write a book that the money just comes in instantly. I'm going on 9 years in this business, and I've seen my fair share of royalty checks that look like $1.50, 75 cents, $2. But the money don't come right away. You really got to work hard, because you're competing with a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing that you put me up on, especially when my first, me coming in as a rook, and not really knowing a lot about this thing, and just thinking that this was going to be an easy payday. And the one thing that you put in my ear was like, be patient. Don't sit up here and don't think it's going to be the easiest payday in the world, because it's not. It's going to be some royalty checks that you're going to be like, hold up, what the hell is this? And,
right.
And it was, and it's truth to that. I was like, wow. So this is what it's going to be, and this is who I'm up against. All right. Let me not look at this as competition. Let me just look at this as motivation.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would think that, writers like, yourself and myself, we would think that, just because we're not, I put it like this. I'm never in competition with anyone. I don't think that what I write is better than anybody else. I don't think that but I damn sure don't think that it's worse than anybody else.
you know what? There's nothing wrong with competition. I mean, whether we want to admit it or not, we're still in competition with somebody. And
Yeah,
competition doesn't always have to be a bad thing. And I mean, if somebody was to ask me, do I think I'm great? I'm like, hell yeah, I think I'm one of the fucking best. I'll put me up with the top names in the business. I'll go toe to toe with them. That's not me
exactly,
being cocky. That's just me believing in me. Because if you don't believe in you and what you can do, why should anybody else believe it?
exactly,
There's a
exactly.
fine line between being confident in what you're doing and then being over cocky with it. I'm not trying to be over cocky, but I believe that what I got is some good shit.
Yeah, that well, I will most definitely can attest to that. That pen game is awesome, awesome, awesome. And like and the way that I've kind of approached it now, especially now that I'm like 3 years. I've only been an author since 2016, so that's roughly 4 years. And my approach to it now in 2021 is just like, okay, I'm in competition with people, but I ain't worried. But I ain't worried about what they doing,
Exactly.
because what they doing ain't what I'm doing. What they writing about ain't what I'm writing about.
Exactly. It's not affecting your pockets.
Nope. And and the one thing that one of my relatives asked me about, like, well, is it a big deal about fame and notoriety? I said, man, hell no. I don't care about any of that. For what?
And that's the beauty of being an author, because no matter how big you get, you could be a mainstream name, and it's not like the comedians or the rappers or the singers or actors. No one knows your face unless they have social media. People will know your name, they'll know your work. But you know what? Y'all can have the fame and notoriety. Give me the money and just make
Yep.
sure my work is popping. I can take the money. If I can go to the store and not be harassed by 1,000,000,001 people, I can do that.
Yeah, exactly. Just I can go to the store anonymous and not be worried and not worry about it. That's
Hmm.
that's and for me, that's what it's about. I mean, even though I think at this point in time, it's all about, and let's just face it, man. You and me, we both read some babby ass books. We've read some horrible stuff. Now, the question I want to ask you: Do you ever compare your stuff to anyone else? I know that you don't, but I want but I know our viewers would want to know if that's the case.
Oh, we all secretly do. Yeah, I compare myself to everybody else's stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I'll sit there and I'll look at stuff that Quan writes or stuff that Ashley and Jaquavis write, and I'm like, I can fuck with them. I can hang with them. I mean,
Yeah,
we write totally different stuff, but I think my stuff is just as good as theirs. Yeah, I compare myself to them, but it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
right. So in a heavyweight fight,
I'm gonna let
who?
you in on something. Like we used to have this group a few years ago called Battle of the Keys, and basically the premises of it was they get two authors, and you get 1 hour to write a specific genre that the readers pick for you, and then at the end of the day, at the end of the battle, the readers pick which story they like. And I'm not gonna lie
Ah,
to you, I called Quan out every chance I got. It's not the fact that I knew I would beat. It wasn't to be a pain in the ass. It was the fact that I know they're not going to pick me to win. I know this because I was still early in my career. I wasn't even
right.
going for the win. What I wanted to know is, where do I stand? And you're not going to know where you stand if you don't go against the top of the food chain. So I'm going to walk this
Exactly.
prison yard. I'm going to pick a fight with the biggest dog in the yard and see where I stand with him.
That's what's up. I like that because it's two things gonna happen. You gonna win or you gonna lose. And if you lose, you
Yeah,
might
and I
lose
knew I was going
horribly.
to lose. I knew I was going to lose, but as long as I can get somebody to say, you know what, I'm gonna go with Quan on this one. But the boy over here, he did his thing, and that's the victory enough for me because I knew I wasn't going to
Exactly.
win.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, come now you Philly born and raised, right?
Hmm. On the playground where I spent most of my days.
does that influence what you write or how you write?
Hmm. Like this city is full of talent. Like everything we do here in Philly, from books to music, whatever it is, like Philly artists, we it's this certain pain that we can bring to projects. because if you come out here to Philly, you see there's nothing but pain out here. There's a lot of stuff going on that people talk about, that we see it out here every day, and we convey that in whatever it is that we're doing. So when I'm doing that with my books, I can take that same stuff that's going on in the city, and I know the same thing goes on in every city, but I take what I see going on here and I incorporate it into my books, and I try to make it as realistic as possible, where you read it and you feel like you know somebody that's like one of these characters.
Right. And you know what? And not even quiet as it's kept, but my favorite hip hop group to this day is still the Roots.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I don't, just to even look, I had never heard anybody from Philly like that until I heard the Roots. I'm like, you know what? I can get down with this, because I think the first album that I ever heard from them was Illadale Half-Life. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can get with this. I can most definitely get with this, because y'all Philly cats, y'all bring it, y'all bring the noise, and when I mean bring the noise, y'all bring the noise.
We got a chip on our shoulder.
Yeah.
We got a chip on our shoulder. We're like right next to New York, so we get overlooked being next to New York. So, and then we get overlooked by everybody else, but everybody knows Philly got some real mean spitters, and talent in other areas too. So yeah, we just get overlooked a lot, but we got the talent. It's there.
Man, indeed, because from you and everybody, because like I say, the one person, and even through us being label mates at that one time, you were the one person that you and RJ were the two people that I gravitated towards more than the rest of them. And that's because, like I said, our commonality was service.
Yeah.
The commonality that me and that I shared with RJ was just like, we kind of both knew where we wanted to be, but kind of was a little confused about where we wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I gravitated more to y'all than anybody else because of not only the commonality, but the brotherhood that we kind of formed over that. And even now, me and RJ still cool. You still, we're me and you still cool. It's just the camaraderie that was built over those. First of all, those for me, they were formative years for me being an author. And you already had been in the game for a minute. And then RJ had been in the game for a while. I probably just moving from one publisher to another. And the stuff that you guys instilled in me just kind of made me just be a much better, not only a better writer, a better author, but also a better individual as far as presenting myself in a proper way to people and stuff like that. So, I most definitely have to give props to you, especially to you for that, because it was times where I was just confused as hell, and you were like, look, bro, little bro, it's cool, man. Just don't worry about it. Just let it ride.
It's all a learning experience.
Exactly. So I have to appreciate. I have most definitely appreciate you especially from the bottom of my heart for that, because like I said, you took me up under your wing and be like, hey, let me show you how this is. Let me show you how this goes. Let me show you how to move in this industry. How to move quietly, but how to move silently, but make a lot of noise. And I was like, all right, this is cool. I like that. And even with the stuff that you put out, it's silent, but it makes so much of an impact for a lot of people. And this kind of segues right into what I want to talk about anyway. Your latest release, man.
Shot on you.
Oh my friggity goodness. All I can say is first of all, it's, you know what? I ain't gonna say too much. It's all I can say is that's gritty. That's real gritty. That's real. It's
I wanted the title that got people's attention.
Yeah. And it got a whole bunch of people's attention, bro. Whole bunch of people's attention. And it's like I see that you post about it on a lot of the pages. It's how was the response been from that title, man? Not only from the title, but from the book itself.
The title is actually what draws people. Like when I try to do books and I try to tell all. I was talking to an author the other day because we're collabing on something, and we were coming up with titles and stuff. I said the first thing you'll need is a catchy title, something that really gets people's attention. And then you're gonna need a catchy cover. Nobody's gonna get nobody's attention more than a book title called "Bitch, I Own You." You hear something like that, your mind goes in several different directions of what I could be talking about when I say that.
Right.
Then I definitely wanted a cover that showed there was no confusion. This is going to be about domestic violence, and I'm not going to make this pretty. So the different photos on the cover of women just being beat up on the cover was something else. I was like, yeah, this is really going to get people's attention. But it's not going to be the kind of domestic violence book they think it's going to be. Usually, every domestic violence book, and I'm not knocking it, it's pretty much the same. Boy meets girl, they hook up, everything's good in the beginning. He starts showing his crazy side, whoops her ass for half the book. By the end of the book, the bitch is either dead or she done got away from him and it's whatever. I didn't want to do that with this book. I wanted to do something completely different. I wanted to talk about all forms of domestic violence, not just, man on woman violence, but woman on man, woman on woman, and teen domestic violence. But I also wanted to tackle something that a lot of people really don't tackle. None of us are who we are just by chance. There was something, there were events in our lives that made us who we are. And that's what I really wanted to tackle with domestic violence. What made this person become a monster? What led them? That's what I wanted to show people. What leads to somebody becoming who they are? Let me give backstory on that. And that's what I really wanted to do with that book.
Wow. And just from yeah, I mean, I won't say that I have the first copy, but I'll say it like that. But you dive into some pretty deep places.
Mm-hmm.
Some really deep places that I don't think a lot of people necessarily dive into. They don't even touch the surface with that. And that's the one thing that kept me continuing to read. I'm like, really? Did he this is how this cat was? Damn. And
it's crazy. I got a couple reviews and people were like, some people really didn't get it. And it was like, they really tried to downplay the domestic part with the woman on the man. And it's what people don't even realize. I did a lot of research. Over 40% of domestic violence victims are men. You know what I mean? And that's the 40% that was going in a relationship. There's the other half that are going through it that never reported because, you're guys, what does it look like? You're a guy talking about some woman's beating on you. So they don't report it. In all of the United States of America, there's only one shelter, and I think it's somewhere in Arizona, for men to go through that are victims of domestic violence. And you think about how many there are for women. And just the one for men. One in the entire United States of America. And I knew some women would get this book and they could relate to it and say, yeah, I know women that are like that and they could deal with it. And I knew it was going to rub some women the wrong way because, no offense, but I feel like with social media right now, we've put a lot of women in this I'm a victim over everything mentality, and that's another thing I really wanted to show. Like, women, some of y'all call some of this shit. You know what I mean? It wasn't just to deliberately pick on them, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it real, and we're going to attack it full force.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, you dive into a pretty deep ocean with that, and the result of it is something that's extremely visceral, but also extremely real. Because again, it's like you mentioned, guys don't talk about this. Guys don't report this. Nope. They don't say anything about it because they just don't. I mean, I can say me personally from my own personal experience with domestic abuse, mental and emotional, and then at times physical abuse. Being in a relationship with that is, for me, it pushed a lot of buttons, and it did take me to that back to that emotional spot, to where I was in that position. And it put me back. It made me personally feel vulnerable again. again, I'm a guy I'm a person that comes from both sides of it. I've abused, but I've also been abused, and it put me right back into both of those emotional situations, and I was like, damn, and it forces you to think about it, especially if you're someone who comes from that. It makes you say, damn, was I really that bad of a person when I was doing it?
It's
And
crazy.
also,
It's crazy. If you look on social media, like sometimes you might see little memes, and you've probably seen it yourselves. I've seen it a million and one times. We had
yeah,
stuff like, well, if she listens to '90s R&B or she was raised on Tupac and all them, leave her alone, homie. She beat niggas, and then we laugh
man,
about it. But when
yeah,
you think about it, we're laughing about a woman beating on a man. Now, if I sat there and said, yo, ladies, you got a man listens to '90s hip hop, Malone, he beat bitches, will not find that shit
yeah,
funny, you
exactly,
know.
exactly,
So when it's
and
abuse towards a guy, it's more funny. It's more funny and comical, and no one takes it serious, which is why a lot of guys don't report it. But to do that same thing to women, they would not find that shit funny.
exactly, and in the way I see it now, especially since I've become an inadvertent advocate for domestic violence for men and women, and now it's just like for me, it doesn't matter on what side of the coin it is. It's abuse is abuse, regardless of the person that's perpetrating it.
Exactly.
And the fun it the the law the laws of the laws of this country, this nation, you know, they do so very well with protecting women of domestic violence, but they do so poorly when it comes to men, because again, like you mentioned before, it's a stigma behind it. You're a man.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be tough. You're supposed to take all that. No, matter of fact,
Exactly.
hell no. That's not what it's supposed to be. It's because, like I said, my mindset now, from coming from both sides of it, and then understanding, and the one and before, and I'm gonna pause right there for a moment. The one thing that I like about what your book brings to is the emotional and the mental and psychological ramifications of it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going
Because
for.
because it because though because from because no because some people can say, well, I'm the abuser, I'm the one that was hurt the most. No, no, no. There are two people that are hurt. It does, even though it doesn't show it, the abuser's hurting as well, because they're dealing with whatever they have internally.
Exactly.
And I like how you brought that out, because brought those emotional, mental, and psychological ramifications from it, because it speaks to a much deeper issue, or a deeper problem. And I was like, damn, he did that. I mean, it's look, one of them characters. I don't know which one it was. I had dude.
Probably Tone or Darnell.
By the end of the book, I want to kill both of them. I said, man,
I made them like that on
these,
purpose.
I was like, these niggas is foul.
But it's a lot of men that's like that, And the thing with books, what we'll be doing as authors, you gotta get some reaction out of it. Like, I'm a big wrestling fan. Yes, and it's a pro wrestler. They always tell you it doesn't matter if the crowd is booing us or if the crowd is cheering us. We work for a reaction. As long as you're booing or cheering, we don't care. We work for the reaction. That's the same thing with books. You want a reaction out of people. You want them to take something from it. If they just read your book and got nothing out of it, then as far as I'm concerned, it was a waste. But if they got something out of it, if you came across a character you wanted to just jump through the pages and wring their neck or whatever, hey, job done.
Bruh, I was like, these two cats is foul. How soon? And how soon is he gonna off one or both of these dudes? But that's the reaction that I got, and but at the same time, even with that reaction that I got from me saying that these cats is foul. The other thing that I think it kind of forced me to think about why they got in that situation, or why were they the way that they were. Something down in their family history, or how their upbringing or whatever put them in that specific dichotomy. And I was like, yeah, I hope he off them real fast, or not, or hopefully toward the end of the book. But I mean, I like how you do that. I mean, and you've always said that it's purposeful. It's to get her either get a yay or a boo or some sort of reaction about that. And I like how I really love how that's put together, because there are not a lot of books out there that force you to think about something.
And it's crazy that it reminded me of that post I put up the other day that we was talking about, and I put that up there because it was one thing. I seen it in a couple of reviews, but then I had more and more people coming to me and asking me the same stupid question. It was women. It was really pissing me off. It was like, what do you mean? Why didn't he leave? He didn't leave for the same reason your ass didn't leave when you were in one. And I'm thinking, like, as a woman, I figured you would not want to ask that question. You, of all people, should understand when someone's in an abusive relationship, how sometimes it's not always easy to leave. And that's why I wanted to show with Eddie's character. But then when people say, why didn't he just leave? Why didn't you leave when your man was going upside your head?
Yeah.
If you want to ask why he didn't do it, why didn't you do it?
Yeah. But then when asking that question tends to get that response, that response anyway. I mean, I think to me, that's a canned response. Well, because it's the same question on the opposite end. Well, why didn't she leave? Think about that.
Yeah.
There are ramifications from that. They could be physical, they could be emotional, they could be mental. People don't leave because
and it just saw with Eddie, his was more emotional. He had an emotional tie. He didn't want to be alone. That's why he dealt with it.
Yep. And I think and that's the one thing that I think a lot of people won't. I think they'll pick it up from the initial get green, or they won't, but they'll kind of see as it develops.
Yeah.
My heart went out to Eddie, for real. I was like, dude, if you don't kick rocks real fast, if you don't kick rocks real quick, dude. But again, it brought me right back to my own personal situation. Why didn't I leave?
Exactly.
There was an emotional and physical attachment. The emotional attachment was, I didn't want to be alone. The physical attachment was the sex was good. So, I mean, if I leave, I'm not gonna find nobody that's gonna quote unquote care about me like that. Or if I leave, I'm not gonna find anybody that's gonna give to me like I like it. And so, there are a lot of reasons why we stay in those relationships or we stay in those interactions, and I know for, like I said, my heart went out to Eddie, and I was like, you know what, if you don't hurry up and just beat feet, I'm gonna jump in this book and start yelling at him.
But what's crazy about that? When people say, "Oh, why didn't he just do this?" Because you gotta think of some entertainment, movies, TV, books. What do you need in order for it to keep going on? You need a conflict.
Yeah.
If it was just that simple, okay, Eddie, just leave. Then there's no more book. In the book, no need to write anymore. You need a conflict. They have to have something that they're overcoming.
Yeah, indeed. And as I continued to read through Eddie's story, I was like, my heart went out to him, but I could feel the conflict just rolling like a storm in him, and it was like, dude, you got to come across a decision.
And then that's the thing I want to say with a lot of authors, especially like if it's I don't know how many people are watching right now, but whatever the case is, but like if you're just getting into business or you're thinking about getting into business, like when you're writing books, you have your protagonist, your good guy, and your antagonist, the bad guy. But there needs to be a conflict. There needs to be something that the protagonist is trying to overcome and the antagonist is trying to put a roadblock in. Right. How many times have you watched a comedy show and you'd be like, why didn't he just do this? Because then there's no more comedy show. You need to laugh. So that's what keeps the show going. You need that conflict. So don't just write for the sake of, okay, I'm going to write this because this is going to be a fire read. You don't know if it's going to be a fire read. You got to have something. There has to be a goal. That's the whole purpose of the book. People don't read a book for the enjoyment. They read a book. I'm put. What's the best way? Two lines that come to mind. One was in the movie Four Brothers, where he said you don't pay a prostitute to fuck you pay her to leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basically, after sex, she doesn't stick around. She leaves. That's what you pay her for. You don't watch a porno for the fucking. You watch a porno for the money shot. It's the same thing with books. You don't read for the enjoyment of the story. You read to find out how this ends.
Yeah. Yeah. And whether good really triumphs over evil and stuff like that. And sometimes it just doesn't play out that way.
Because that's life. Life doesn't work that way.
Yeah. And the funny part about it is everybody looks at that. They want it to be this happy ending type thing. And that's all well and good. I mean, when I wrote my book, the book that I wrote about domestic violence, it was a happy ending on purpose, just because, I won't say that's what people expected, but that was the direction that I wrote it towards. But then reading, when people read what you have and they look at it like, well, damn, this ain't the fairy tale ending that he wrote about. Nah, it ain't. Because mostly, and I tell people that because some people, and I'm going to say this, a lot of people that I know have read your book and they read mine, and they kind of say, well, they always ask me, what's the difference? I said, the difference is what I wrote kind of touches the surface. Mm-hmm. Doesn't go all the way down. Doesn't go all the way down there. It just kind of touches the surface. Kind of goes to the middle of it. I said, what my brother wrote goes way deeper. I said, and then they say, how deeper? I said, think about it. Wouldn't you want to know why somebody's the way that they are? Yeah. Wouldn't you want to know why somebody is so damn maladjusted that anything sets them off? Wouldn't you want to know that?
It's like I say in the synopsis. And I don't know why people don't catch it, because I put it right there at the beginning of the synopsis. Everything, the first 4 words, everything has an origin story.
That's right.
You can't fix a problem if you don't know how it began.
Exactly. And the one thing that I told people when I wrote mine is that I wrote my book from a middle standpoint, to where they are recovering and they're telling their story from the back end of it and then pushing forward from the front end. I said my brother wrote it from beginning all the way to end, and he goes way deeper than I do. I said what I wrote has a happy ending on purpose. I said what my brother wrote doesn't have a happy ending on purpose, because it's more based upon the reality of the situation. Mm-hmm. And people look at it like, well, that's not always reality. Yes, it is. Because you mentioned it in your book. I mean, I'm not going to spoil it for everybody that hasn't read it, but there are situations that have an end, a very definite end. And people be like, whoa, that's not. Think about it. If you did this for so long and you've hurt people for so long, eventually somebody gonna serve you up a plate of your own, right?
Exactly. And like with Yvette, like the character of Yvette, like a lot of people in the beginning of the book, they were frustrated. She was driving a lot of people crazy, and like you were with Eddie, a lot of people were feeling sorry for Eddie. And that was by design. And then later on, you find out why Yvette was the way she was. And then you either going to kind of feel sorry for Yvette, or you're going to be like, all right, she kind of deserved what she had going on. And it's the same thing with the character of Eddie. You kind of felt sorry for him, but then later on in the book, without really giving away any spoilers, it's kind of like, all right, well, we know how it happened in the book.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and people be like, well, why did it happen? I said, because you already. I said, if you read it, if you look at me again,
you want to say hi?
Read the origin story.
Now somebody want to say hi. All you gotta do is stay in the camera.
Hi,
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
That's Mama TV.
Hey, Mama TV, man. Your son's amazing.
Thank you.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
Um,
Amazing guy, even better. Amazing guy, amazing author, amazing person, actually. Known this
oh,
guy for a while.
that's very nice to hear. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're more than welcome, ma'am. This
I didn't mean to interrupt y'all.
nah, you're okay.
All right, see you later.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, bye-bye.
I love it, man. I love it. For me, it's like, someone getting served up a plate of their own. I was like, well, all I'm gonna say and now, again, this is not spoiling everything. Some people actually deserve what they got, and then some people didn't necessarily deserve what they got. It's just how the circumstances played out.
And that's just real life. Sometimes it just ends up being that way. You don't want to feel bad. You don't be like, all right, you kind of had that coming, but at the same time, it's like, you know what? It's like hearing, like in Philly, you'll see like a lot of situations where I remember one time me and my ex were sitting on her porch eating some Chinese takeout, and we watched this girl trying to break into this guy's place, and he pulled up and he caught her, and then they're going at it, and then her girlfriends just came out of nowhere trying to attack him. And like one by one, he's just dropping these chicks out the air. I'm like, we just sitting like, ooh, he's dropping the shit out of them. I wasn't going to help because one, it's like 4 of y'all and one of him. He just doing what he got to do. But he whooped their ass so bad. I'm like, look, let me call the cop before he kill these bitches out here today. Because the way he going to hurt all 4 of them.
Yeah. And the one thing I think that you put in your story that is something that I may have caught, well, maybe the readers may have caught it, is that you alliterate to it. It's just that, and it's not something that's obvious within the interaction of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious from reading, as you continue to read, is that these people are damaged.
Yeah, they were.
They're damaged. They're hurting, and for some reason, it's like, yeah, exactly. They're lashing out. Bruh, exactly. So exactly, that's facts right there. That's facts, and I don't even think that a lot of the kids. I don't even think the characters in the book even realized that what they were doing until maybe it came across some really strange or fucked up realization to it. That's why I kind of felt so bad for Eddie, because apparently I had this inkling that he knew that he was in a bad situation. He just embraced. He just decided to embrace it because that's all he.
Yeah, this is all he know. He watched it go on with his mom, and now it's going on with him. So, and Eddie was a meek kind of guy. He was a pushover, like the mama was saying to him. And in the middle of the book, she was like, after the situation with her daughter and her last relationship happened, she kind of went, and no offense to you, kind of picked guys that were like you, guys she could take control of.
Yeah, most definitely. Now the one thing that I want to personally ask is and this is, what do we now, because this is one of those subjects that a lot of people don't even necessarily talk about, or just sweep it up under the rug, because if it ain't happening to me, why the hell should I bother with it?
Mm-hmm.
What and I'm pretty sure you have some ideas. What can we, as just normal people, who haven't, I won't say who haven't, not necessarily. What are steps that we can do to kind of minimize those types of interactions, or minimize, domestic violence, not only between men, not only between women and men, but also, men and women, women against women, Parents against kids. Yeah, it's human beings.
Yeah. Like I said this in the book discussion we had. I always say this, pay attention to the signs. The signs always come before the first blow does. And like, if people, and I know Tony and Darnell were not people's favorite characters, but honestly, they were my favorite two characters to write because I was going to use them to get a message out. And they did give a message. The part where they're in the car and they're talking about, he was like, you got her on Isolation Island. He's like, well, what's Isolation Island? It's like, that's where you got the family out of the way. Then you get the friends out of the way. You have her completely dependent on you. Once you have that, she's at your fucking mercy. Where else she going to go? She going to have to take her because she got nowhere else to go. Right. And that's one of the signs. Like you're dating someone, whoever it is you're dating, if it's okay, they don't particularly like your family. They want your family out of the way. They don't like your friends being around. Hello, wake up. They're isolating you from people because what's going to come next? And once they got everyone isolated away from you, you're about to see the true monstrous nature of them that they have within them. So that's one of the key signs right there. Pay attention to who they're trying to eliminate from your circle.
Right. Now, the one thing that I kind of advocate, especially when it comes to domestic violence, I always tell, I always say this, and I've been to a couple of, conferences where I say the same thing is, once you're safe, you want to stay safe, but also you want to protect yourself. The one thing that I always say is that, protect yourself at all times. And in any cases, if you have to take a class to learn how to use a gun, take self-defense classes, and to learn how to defend yourself, learn how to use a blunt or sharp object, do that. Now, I've caught some, not say some backlash, but a little bit of it because I mentioned the fact of learning how to use a weapon such as a gun or a knife or things of that nature. But my response to that is any means necessary to protect yourself. I mean, there's nothing wrong with to me, I don't see there's nothing wrong with a woman learning how to use a gun and getting a concealed carry permit. There's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with me seeing a woman learn how to use a blunted or sharp weapon such as a knife. There's nothing wrong with me having a woman learning how to take a self-defense class and learn how to defend herself. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's like the saying goes, it's going to be, it's either you or them. Which one's it going to be?
Exactly. Now, people ask me, well, what about if it's the opposite? If a woman's doing that to the man? Well, I tell them the same rules apply. Because when you look at it, and I look at it like the abuse is abuse. It doesn't matter who perpetrates it.
You ever see the show called The Rookie?
Yeah, I have.
Did you remember the very first episode? I don't know if you saw the pilot episode, but there's one part where the rookie and his training officer, they come to this house, and this is big dude. He's like 6'2", 6'3". Gotta be like close to 300 pounds. And his little small wife, and they got called for a domestic situation, and they thought he was the aggressor. And
it was her.
And when they came back later to that address, and she was stabbing him up. Turned out she was the aggressor. She ended up killing her own husband. Yeah. He was scared of her. And this is like a little tiny woman, and he was like this big dude.
But you bring about something that just came to my mind. It is amazing how someone who doesn't appear or seem to be powerful can exert so much power and so much leverage over someone else that's either bigger or presumed to be bigger, presumed to be stronger, presumed to be faster physically. But this smaller person can exert all this influence and power. And all it takes is words or actions.
Like I say in the book, it's all up here. It's all a mental mind game.
Yeah.
Control their mental. You can have them do whatever you want them to do. You can control their mind.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always been that mind thing. I mean, and even like I said, your book, a lot of the situations that you talk about in your book takes me back to my own couple of situations. And like, you always ask those questions about yourself. I always ask those questions. Was I really that weak, or was I really that that naive? Or was I really that angry? And then I go back to it and I say, well, it's already said and done. I've already caught the charge over the one incident.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is at this point. But then a lot of what Eddie's story was, it did bring back a lot of the emotional and the mental and the psychological ramifications of both incidents, and how hard it was for me to recover from, how hard it was for me for the better part of a year to recover from, and it was crazy about that, because I was like, all of this happened and I'm still reeling from this in an emotional, psychological, mental way from it. And to be transparent with a lot of people that's watching, it took me about over a year to recover from that.
Wow.
A year. Counselor, going through a couple of counselors, talking about it at length, analyzing, overanalyzing, even putting things in proper perspectives, kind of put a lot of things, it was kind of the root of a lot of other things that happened further down the line. And I was like, wow, okay. And then, like I said, reading Eddie's story was like, that's deja vu to me. And I was like, yeah.
Mm.
And I think it brought me back to the one thing that I just thought about. There's a lot of Eddies out there, but also there's a lot of the other. There's a lot of other characters. There's a lot of other characters out there too, but it's more Eddies than it is your other two characters.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: Did the missus ever get a chance to read it, or?
She hasn't yet, but I'm actually gonna let her take a peek at it, because that's, again, it speaks to a lot of things. It speaks, like, you speak to what's known, you speak to what's hidden, you speak to what's unseen, you speak to what's seen, and then you also speak to the extremely obvious. And then you dive deep into the rabbit hole, and I have to give a kudos to that for how deep you went into that rabbit hole, because I think a lot of people are going to be pleasantly surprised when they read that, because, again, you put it in a way to where people are going to understand it. Well, they'll understand it, but then they'll be angry, they'll be sad, they'll be happy, and then they'll be glad. But my thing is this: I hope that it gets them to think, to really, really think, because the first part of your synopsis says it all. Everything has an origin story. You want to know how somebody is the way they are? Check the background.
Get to the root of how it got there.
Yep. And then, and even when you get to the root of it, it's still difficult to remove yourself from that persona. And I saw that with Eddie and Yvette off the top. I'm like, he's been like that for a while, and he's not willing to remove it. He's not willing to change that aspect of himself.
Exactly. And she's going to do it as long as and it's one of those things that she's going to do as long as you allow her to keep doing it.
Yeah, indeed. Man, look. And I was like, and again, it just, for me, it pulled me right back to my own situation. And honestly speaking, that's not a bad thing, because it reminds me of where I was, but it also reminds me of what I had to go through to get to where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of the pitfalls and all along the way, I'm proud to have went through that particular struggle. I'm not proud. I'm not proud that I put my hands on a woman.
Yeah.
And I'm not proud that I allow someone to treat me in a way that was not consistent with who I am. But I appreciate the lessons that were learned from it. And I appreciate the things that I went through in the aftermath of it. It forces you to be a better person. It forces
That's
you.
one thing I wanted to do was like kind of like use this book and like use it as a mirror, hold a mirror up to your, and look at the reflection. One thing that's never going to lie is the reflection in the mirror.
Exactly. Because that reflection is going to tell you, it's going to reveal who you truly are.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing more visceral or more embarrassing in my book to. And when you when you personify yourself to be one person, and you look in the mirror and you're the exact opposite. True, man. Look, true and gritty to the core, man. I mean, regardless if you put anything else out, bruh, you have a fan, you have a true fan, you have a true fan here, because from Blue Lives Murder to this book, oh boy.
Well, I'm actually about to do a re-release of Street Love Blood Money too.
Oh, come on with it. Man,
Because that's like a two-part series. But even with that book is a street fiction book. But once again, it's kind of like on the verge of, say, a Wire or a Snowfall. It's like it's
right.
really going to go in depth into the streets, and it's not just a street fiction for glamorizing street life. There's messages all throughout this book too, and that's why I think that's why I try to separate myself from everybody else. Okay, they good, they can entertain you. I'm gonna entertain you too, but at the same time, I'm gonna make sure that I smack you with this truth, and you get this truth.
You know what?
No matter how uncomfortable it makes you feel.
You know what? And for our viewers and our listeners out there, and those who have read your work and gave it positive reviews, they understand that. They know they gonna get it blood raw, but it's gonna be truth sprinkled all about it. And that's the one thing that I appreciate so much about your writing. It's true. It's raw, but there's truth sprinkled about it, and it forces you to think about the things that we deal with, on an everyday basis. And like I said, I'm very honored to know you as a brother, as a brother of the pen, and just truly as a brother, period. Because I mean, if it weren't for the things that you said, that you told me, or things that you had put in my ear, as someone coming up as a new author, I don't even think I would be at the pinnacle. I won't say pinnacle. I don't think that I'd be where I am currently if you didn't put those things in my ear. If you didn't.
What's crazy is the thing is, like you said, you've been doing like going on close to 5 years now. And it took me a while to like really find my voice in this business. And I think that's the thing for everybody. If you're some kind of artist, you got to find your lane. You got to find your voice. Once you find your voice, the next big step is just figuring out how to convey that to where the audience will understand it.
Exactly. So, a couple of questions I want to ask before we end this particular episode. So, the first question I want to ask you is like this marathon that you're running as an author. You've been running it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see yourself in this marathon as an author? Do you see yourself at the beginning of your race, at the midpoint of your race, or do you see yourself kind of coasting toward the finish line?
No, nowhere near the finish line. I'm out the starter gate now, so I'm playing catch up. I'm gonna catch some people, so I'm playing catch up right now. I'm gonna catch a few folks. They had me over in lane 8, so I'm gonna catch up.
That's what's up. And I think it comes to the point of you realizing that this ain't no 40-yard dash. This is a
cross country meet.
Exactly. And you have to pace yourself. So Besides that, man, what else you got going, man, moving forward? I know you said, Street Leader One, you got a remake of a book coming out. What else you got going, man?
Then I got a collab I'm working on with somebody right now. Then I got a story, another book I put on pause for a little. I'm gonna get back to that too, and that's gonna be talking about what happened with me and my ex-wife and the whole. Because people that know us always like, yo, whatever happened with you and so. So I get tired of telling everybody this is what happened with me or her. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna put it in the book. I'm gonna tell y'all what happened with me and her in a book. But I'm gonna write it like in fiction form, but it's still gonna be my story.
Got you, man. That's what's up, man. So I know one thing. I know I'm gonna be looking forward to those, man. But yo, I'm gonna give you this particular opportunity right now to let everybody know, first of all, who you are, what the books that you got out published, and then where they can find those books, and also where they can find you on social media. So you got the floor.
I'm, of course, as you said, the bottom of the screen, I'm author T.B. Scott. I have a few books out under that name. This one, another book that talks about interracial dating called Colorblind. A lot, and you know what's crazy about that book? A lot of people really skipped out on that book. I guess they thought seeing that book with a white man, a black woman on the cover, that was either trying to push an interracial agenda or talk against interracial. It was neither one of the two, but it is one of those books again that's going to talk about the realities of interracial dating, the things that most couples in interracial relationships deal with on a regular basis.
Right.
There, of course, I had the remake, the reboot of Street Love, Blood Money coming out. Then I have books under my other pen name, Mr. Chronic Black, Blue Lives Murder, which you talked about, Traffic Line, which deals with child sex trafficking, Seeds of the Devil, which is that's a whole that's like, outside from this book, that's probably my biggest best-selling book right there, Seeds of the Devil. Right. And that's a story about two twin brothers who were molested by their dad. He ends up killing them. They run away. Their mom finds out, and then she takes the kids away. Dad finds out. He tracks the mom down, kills the mom and her family. And then the two twin boys, they grow up looking for their father. Their father was a cop. He was a patrolman when they left. When they ran away, he was a patrolman. So it picks up 7 years later. Their father is a detective, and he's looking for his son still. And this is the crazy part about this. Not only are they twin brothers, they're also lovers.
Oh,
they're also lovers. I threw that little twist in there.
I read a snippet of it. I read a snippet of it. I was like, whoa.
And they go on this murder spree. They're killing like everyone that's associated with law enforcement because they want to find it. They want to smoke their dad out. And their dad is working these murder cases. So he's looking for his sons, but he doesn't know that the killers that he's looking for are his sons.
Wow.
Then there's another book I wrote with Deb K. Mason called The Harvest, and that deals with organ trafficking. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff to be dealing with. You
hit them hard from every angle, right?
Exactly. You can find me on Instagram, TB Scott 72, and you can find me on Facebook if you dare at Troy Scott. You'll see the the Bitch I Own You cover as my profile pic, Troy Scott. So I say come on my page if you dare, because sometimes I'll just say shit that'll rub somebody the wrong way. you know.
Yeah. You've been in Facebook jail for more than a few things, but I mean,
sometimes I'm a veteran.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're the sensitive type, don't come on my page. Just buy the books, because I guarantee you, I'll say something that you won't like.
Exactly. You better just have either thick skin or thick ears.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, if it's something you don't like, then it means it's truth to you.
But sometimes not even directed about nobody. Sometimes you just be talking just to be talking in general.
Yeah, for sure.
And sometimes someone says sometimes it's not what you said. Sometimes it's whatever it was you said just struck a chord with them, and they're dealing with their own demons. So those are your demons to deal with, not mine.
Exactly. I'm good over here.
Exactly.
But man, Troy, thank you so much for coming on, man, and blessing me with your energy and also, your enthusiasm for the work that you do, man. I am so, honored to be your brother, and also a brother of the pen with you, man. I mean, this is It's
Yeah, thanks for having me on. We've been trying to do this for a while.
Oh, I know, man. I mean, it's and no, we gonna try to do this a lot more often, man. Because I mean, it's so there's other things that there are other things that we can most definitely talk about because there's some subjects that I really want to talk about, and to have someone that that's not only as knowledgeable but also just someone who has that blunt opinion makes the world a difference. I mean, and so I'm most definitely gonna try to invite you on to some other things, man. So keep an eye out.
Hopefully, I won't be looking like this 40-year-old man taking a selfie.
Look, I
Oh man.
agree, man. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, man, I am reintroducing the son, but introducing to our audience, my brother, the pen, the author of Blue Lives Murder and Bitch I Own You, as well as other books. My brother, Mr. TB Scott, man. This gentleman. You can find all his books on Amazon. If you go to the social media page, don't be afraid to say hi to him. Don't be afraid to check out his page. If something that offends you, if you got sensitive heart, sensitive ears, man, don't go over there. But don't be afraid to say hi to him on Instagram or on Facebook, man. And if you do happen to pick up any of his works, please, 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 please. And I'm saying it's not only for me as an author, but also for my brother TB Scott, and also for my for my previous guests. Leave a review, please. It helps us as authors to be better, to develop and be better.
And it helps in the Amazon algorithms as well, because the more reviews they get, the more Amazon pushes the book.
Exactly. But I cannot stress the importance of reviews. These reviews help us as authors to be better as authors, but also to bring out more material for you, our fans, and the people that like our material, and as well as the algorithms. So if you do write a review, it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. We just appreciate you as readers and as fans who like our work to show that appreciation by writing a review. It don't cost nothing. Maybe 5 or 10 minutes of your time, but it doesn't cost you anything monetarily. So by all means, show the two authors that I have on this platform some love by picking up their books and writing a review, positive or negative, and just support it, and just showing them support. Man, once again, Troy,
now,
thank you.
If it is a negative review, it's okay. Constructive criticism is okay. What's not okay with a bad review is if you're going to be disrespectful about the review.
Yes. Don't be disrespectful about a review. If it's a negative, if it's a 2-star or 1-star review, provide constructive criticism. Don't be just like, well, I hate this and everything associated with it. Nah, that's a review that we want. That's a review that myself, my brother, or my sister that was on the show tonight would appreciate or want. If be constructive, be critical. We appreciate that. We welcome that.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be destructive. Don't be to the point of being destructive, because that don't help at all. But yo, Troy, it's been a pleasure to have you on here, man. And don't worry, man. I'm gonna have you back on here for some more stuff, man. I got some things brewing that I want to pull you into. So thank you so much for coming on, man. You've not only have you been a blessing to me, but also been a blessing to our audience. So I thank you so much for coming on.
Once again, thanks for having me on, man. This has been real fun. Like the time went by real fast.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. Indeed, yes, indeed. Also, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to end our episode for tonight. Tune in Sunday night to where we do the finale. We're going to talk about Rule 1530, and we're going to give some input and some input on those rules. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I present to you TB Scott and also Kadian Palmer-Asemota, two powerful and wonderful authors who have messages that are not only powerful but also positive and speak to real life situations. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to end our episode tonight. I bid you good night. Be safe. Take care of each other. And always go with God. Have a good evening.